So I decided I'm going to do this because I didn't do a review on my older channel when the first Justice League came out. So I said, I'm going to watch this new one. I know it's going to be horrible. And I was just preparing myself, getting my notes and stuff ready so that I could talk about how shitty this movie was and how much of a waste that this remake was. But I can't do that. This was actually a lot better than I thought. Now, that's not saying much because the original Justice League movie was, I, I want to say, one of the worst, if not the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst superhero movie I had ever seen, and it was actually a pretty shitty action movie. Even if you take away all the disrespect to disrespect for the superheroes and you take out all the shitty editing and all that stuff. The action was pretty shitty and stupid and boring. Um, so it was just a complete piece of garbage. That's why I never made a video on the review. Made a review on the first one because it was such a waste of time that it was no sense making any video about it. But this one, like I said, was not nearly as bad as I thought, but that's not saying much because it's just improving upon something that to me is irrelevant, complete garbage. Like I said, the first Justice League was garbage. The only reason that this isn't, that Justice League isn't shittier, the only reason that Batman v Superman doesn't take the shittiest comic book movie ever made title is because Justice League had so much more writing on it, and which meant that it had so much farther to fall. You had so many of these characters people know and love being put on the big screen and competing with Marvel, and you just shit all over them. All of them were shit on. So the good stuff about this was one thing I will say is the movie was 4 hours long, almost 4 hours long if you take out the credits, if you remove the credits. And while by the end I was getting, tired of watching it, I was kind of excited sitting through the movie because I liked seeing new stuff pop in. I didn't know what I was going to be seeing next, so that was exciting for me. That there was a lot of little things thrown in there, little thank you, little love letters to fans of DC that were thrown in there. So you were getting these little surprises here and there, and so that made me more interested in the movie than I normally would have been. Hold on, let me sit up. I was laying down, and my neck was hurting. That made me more interested in the movie than I thought it would because I'm wondering, well, what are they going to show next? What are they going to show next? What are they going to show next? And so that kind of kept me invested in the movie until you got towards the end, and it was just the dickless garbage that we had already seen in the first Justice League movie. Then by then I was getting kind of bored, but for over 3 hours I was pretty into it. And that's saying something because I hated Snyder's first Justice or Whedon Snyder Justice League debacle. I hated that movie so much. I think I watched it once and never watched it again. Even just for something to joke on, I couldn't even watch it. It wasn't even funny. It was just boring and bad. So the fact that I could sit through this 3+ hours and for most of it be excited for what's coming next, that was surprising to me. So I do want to say that if you haven't seen the original Justice League, do not waste your time watching this. If you have not seen the original Justice League, don't waste your time watching this. It's still a piece of shit. Don't waste your time watching it. If you have seen the original Justice League, you got to check this out. You just check it out just so that it can fix the garbage that you had initially seen. So that's my recommendation. If you have not seen Justice League ever, do not waste your life and your time watching this piece of shit. if you have seen the original Justice League, you got to check. You have to see this movie. You have to see this movie just so that it can correct certain things. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else good to say about it. No, no, nothing else. So now let me get into my review of the movie as a movie. So the movie is very fucking long, but as I said before, I didn't mind that because I'm a DC fan. This is another thing. If you're not a DC fan, the 3+ hours is something you're probably gonna get annoyed with. But if you are a DC fan, which I'm a bigger Marvel fan than DC, but I know a lot of I know of these characters. I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm not as big a fan of any of the other characters, but I know of them, and I've been reading stories and watching cartoons and playing video games with them for my whole life. So you know of them. And as that type of a fan, it was nice seeing little things kind of given to you. So that was cool. I liked seeing that. But if you're not a fan of DC, you don't know nothing about them, then you're probably going to, after like an hour and a half, you're probably going to be like, geez, this shit is garbage. And that's the problem with the movie. The movie, if you haven't seen it before and you're not looking, you're not watching the movie because you're expecting to see changes. If you're just watching it to watch it, the movie is boring. It's a boring movie. The first one was boring, and this one is just as boring. They made some modifications that improved on the movie because it actually expanded the story. So now you got to see certain things. Certain things made sense. You weren't as annoyed because you weren't fucking confused. You weren't just thrown into stuff, and they weren't just cutting corners so that it made the movie look cheaper. So that this movie expands on all that stuff and stretches it out and explains things to make the movie better than it was, but it's still garbage. And the reasons that I hate this movie, whatever, is because of the disrespect to the characters. The big ass disrespect to the fucking characters. Let's go down the list. First, we're going to start off with Superman. I'm not a huge Superman fan, but obviously Superman is, or started off as the biggest superhero, biggest comic book character of all time. And to be so disrespectful to him. The first movie just was not, Man of Steel just didn't portray Clark properly. The second movie didn't portray Clark properly either, and it was disrespectful to him. This movie, Kal-El is like a background character. He's like a background shit character that gets thrown in, that kind of interacts at the very end. This is a fucking Justice League movie. It's Superman. It's a Justice League movie and it's Superman. Why would you? That's like making an X-Men movie and putting Wolverine in at the very end in just a bullshit action scene. And I know Superman wasn't at the very end, but he was practically at the end of the movie. When you first see him, you're almost towards the end of the movie, and it's not. You don't really. It's Kal-El's not in his right mind. By the time he gets into his right mind, it's the end of the fucking movie. So you wasted. It's Superman. He is the Justice League. Superman is the Justice League. Even if the fucking characters in the movie said it, that there's 6 of us and he's the biggest part. We need him. He is the Justice League. How do you make a Justice League movie and put him in at the very end? That is so disrespectful, and it was such a stupid decision. And one thing before I keep going, I have to say, I don't want to shit on Snyder too much because of what he's going through with the abrupt loss of his daughter, his stepdaughter, his daughter. I'll call her his daughter. I don't want to go on him too much, and at least I didn't want to. But in order to really talk about this, I have to. Zack Snyder made one of the greatest comic book movies of all time in 300. It was a great adaptation of a graphic novel. It was unique, and for that story, his style worked. That's why it was such a great fucking movie, because for that type of story, those types of scenes, his style will work for that. It works with that well. That's why it melded. He took the story, he followed the story pretty closely, and then that story matched with the type of filmmaker that he is. It just worked perfectly. Music choices, everything was so fucking great. Then he went on to make Watchmen, which to me is the greatest comic book movie of all time. And just listen to what I'm saying. To me, Watchmen is the greatest comic book movie of all time, meaning that it followed the graphic novel almost exactly. You had small changes, but it was very fucking faithful to the graphic novel. There are scenes in the movie that are literally pulled straight from the graphic novel. That's how fucking accurate it was. So I want to give Zack Snyder credit for that. I want to give him credit for making 300 such a great movie and a great comic book movie. I also want to give him credit for making Watchmen, being so faithful to the Watchmen graphic novel. But with that being said, when you watch Watchmen, you start to see flaws in Zack Snyder. Because while it is a great comic book movie because it followed it's faithful to the source material, his style don't fucking change. It doesn't matter the story. His style doesn't change, and that's a problem. With Watchmen, you realize, style is not going too well, and the pacing, because Watchmen is not that type of a comic book where the vast majority of people are going to be interested in it. It's social commentary on politics and stuff like that. So it's not that type of a comic book. So you got to make the movie differently, but he didn't know how. So not a lot of people liked Watchmen. They were expecting something different, and they were disappointed when they saw the movie. That's one of the reasons why it failed, and that's because Zack Snyder couldn't change his filmmaking method. So it showed up there. Then when Man of Steel came out, Zack Snyder revealed himself to be the shittiest comic book movie maker of all time. And the reason I'm going to say of all time is because you've had shitty comic book movies in the past. Really, really shitty ones like Daredevil and Elektra and Catwoman. But by this point in our lives, comic book movies have established a certain pattern that if you follow that pattern or something close to it, you'll win. All you got to do is follow the source material, pay attention to the characters and the source material, and the everything, the way that the story is, the original source material story is written. And other than that, you follow a pattern and you can do it. Not only that, but couple that with the unbelievable technology that we have now. And any comic book movie should be a fucking home run at this point. Especially when you base it on these unbelievably popular characters. It should be a fucking home run. It should be very easy at this point. But Zack Snyder turned Man of Steel, turned this method of comic book filmmaking into something that's so easy, from something that's so easy into this super complicated, stupid shit. And it made Man of Steel boring. It made Man of Steel stupid. Zack Snyder decided, I'm not going to follow the source material anymore. I'm just going to change shit all around. And that's when you really realize, wow, this guy you can't make a Superman movie, then you obviously can't make any comic book movie. You should stop then and there. And then Batman v Superman came out. And that movie, that movie is such a piece of trash. It is such a piece of garbage that is so disrespectful to two of the biggest I can't even say comic book characters, to two of the biggest characters ever created in the history of humanity. Ever since humans started drawing fictional characters and writing stories about them, from the beginning of fiction till now, Superman and Batman are probably two of the biggest characters from the whole history of fiction. That's how big these characters are. Zack Snyder was so fucking disrespectful to these two characters that it's not even funny. And that's when you realize, God damn, this guy sucks dicks. And I think I don't even remember if he did Suicide Squad or not. I don't really care. That was garbage. I'm sure, I know he was involved. Garbage. So Zack Snyder has revealed himself to be the shittiest comic book movie maker. Not even comic book. I don't know too many movies. I don't know all the movies that he's done, but the other movie that I saw that he did, Sucker Punch. The only reason I watched that whole movie is because I love Emily Browning. She's a gorgeous girl, and that's the only reason I watched the whole movie. If she wasn't in it, I wouldn't have watched that shit. I couldn't have gotten through it. So I don't even want to say he's a great filmmaker. He has, maybe he could make music videos or something, but his films, he can only make a certain type of film. He's like a niche filmmaker. So he's already revealed himself to be just not really good. So he's made this Justice League movie, and it's showing again that he doesn't care to know the characters. He's not that type of filmmaker, obviously, where he wants to know about the source material and follow the source material and be faithful to the source material. And you see that in this movie. You see that in all his movies, but we're talking about this movie. You see that in this movie. He is just disrespectful to the character of Superman. Doesn't know the character of Superman. Apparently, he doesn't know a lot of these characters. And one of the reasons why I don't want to give him too much credit for this new version of the shitfest that was made before is because he had a lot of time to fix mistakes, and he knew what the complaints were, and he knew what he had to fix, and he was given a shitload of money to do it. So at that point, if someone's telling you this is exactly what changes you need to make, and then you make most of those changes, I'm not going to give you that much credit as a filmmaker, because people just gave you a blueprint to follow and you followed it, so people are happy, or as happy as they can be. I don't even think that's where I was trying to go. I was just went off on a tangent. So, first of all, he disrespected Superman. Get that out of the way. Superman was treated as a background prop character. Then we get to Batman. I honestly can't say I'm a huge Batman fan. I'm actually going to post my older video that I made a few years ago about Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. I'm a huge Batman fan. And people seem to love Ben Affleck as Batman. I really don't know why. I mean, people loved Christian Bale's Batman too, and that was garbage. So who knows? But while Ben Affleck's Batman was better than Christian Bale's Batman, it's still not. It didn't feel like Batman, and I was thinking about it all last night, all this morning. It's Friday that I'm making this video. Friday after the Justice League came out. All morning I'm thinking about why I don't like him as Batman, and I really couldn't pinpoint it. But it felt like it felt soulless. He felt soulless. And while Batman is somber, he's quiet, he's brooding, he's dark, and he doesn't feel like a character that you can use the word soulful for. It's like Ben Affleck sapped a lot of what's Batman out of Batman. I don't know how to explain it. There were times when he's Bruce Wayne where he's he's not cracking jokes, but he's saying sarcastic, funny type things that it's not something Bruce would say. Not only that, and it may not all be Ben Affleck's fault, but not only that, but his action scenes were lacking. Sometimes they didn't make sense. I mean, this guy was fighting close quarter, hand-to-hand combat with these parademons. These guys have super strength. I mean, at one scene, they show them prying open a motorized steel door with their bare hands. So these guys are very strong. Ripping his car apart. So they're strong. This guy's fighting them. I don't like Ben Affleck as Batman. Not only that, but the Batman wasn't written into this story properly. He wasn't. They didn't use him the way that he should be used. His brilliance, his plan, stuff like that. It I don't know how to explain it. I really don't know how to explain it. But it just wasn't Batman to me, so I didn't like it, and I didn't like the way that he was written into the movie. So that was kind of disrespectful to me. The fact that this is supposed to be Dark Knight Batman, so it's 20 years after he debuted as or 20. He's been Batman for 20 years, so he's what, 45, almost 50. Alfred looked like he could be in his 60s. So there was just things as a Batman fan I just didn't like. The Bat Cave, obviously they show that in Batman v Superman that Wayne Manor was destroyed. For somehow they don't say how or explain ever. It's just not there. So they're on this lake. Batman is trying to hide his identity from the world, but he conducts all his fucking bat business on a lake with glass walls. In a world where paparazzi want to take pictures of Bruce Wayne, and there's probably going to be people looking through the windows, your window walls that you live behind. It's still shit didn't make sense. I didn't like the way the Batcave looked. I didn't like the fact that Bruce was just so nonchalant with his fucking secret identities. Guy was walking into places. I'm back. As Bruce Wayne, letting people know he's Batman. He goes to recruit the Flash, and he goes as Bruce Wayne, and he reveals he's Batman. He doesn't know who this kid is. He doesn't know who Barry is. He doesn't know his personality. He doesn't know nothing about him. All he saw was a little 30-second clip of him on a video. This guy could be a fucking psychopath. So why would Bruce Wayne just walk in and say, "Hi, I'm Batman. My most secret thing I'm going to just give to somebody I don't fucking know"? That doesn't make any sense. It's not even not knowing the character. It's just stupid writing. It's his secret identity. Why would he just give it to him like that? This guy went to recruit Arthur Curry to Aquaman, and he's in a fucking bar letting it be known that I'm Batman. I mean, these guys are walking down the street and Aquaman's referring to him as Batman and Bruce Wayne, and his people but right behind them. And this guy's just like, nonchalant, la la la. Yep, I'm Batman. What the fuck? It's just stupid writing that just doesn't make sense. And it's disrespectful to the story. It's because you're not, it's just annoying to me. Seeing these little things annoyed the shit out of me. And then have the Batman action scenes, like I said earlier, they were just so bad. There's things you can do. You can write the story properly so that Batman is amongst all these superpowered godlike people, but he's still Batman, and he's so good at what he does that they need him. But they kind of removed that. You could have used him as he was a hacker, he was the plan maker. Espionage, he's hiding out and he pops in at the last minute with a bomb. There's a lot of different things you could do to make Bruce Wayne useful, other than just putting him in a close quarter combat scene with him and these demons, and is using his fists and a fucking grapple gun, and that's it. It's like, so it felt lazy. It was lazy. It was lazy and it was disrespectful. So that's Superman and Batman. Then you have Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, I mean, they didn't do horribly with Wonder Woman, but I'm not that big of a Wonder Woman fan, so I really don't give two shits about her as, what if they fucked up or not. And I can't really think of too many bad things that they did for her, other than the fact that for some reason she can't fucking fly. If a lot of problems would have been solved if she could fly. There are a lot of instances where she's not fighting. She was fighting Steppenwolf at the end, her and Aquaman, and it's like they weren't trying to fight. It didn't make sense. It's like they were not trying to fight. The choreography was so bad. They were so lazy with that. It's like they skipped on the money. They skipped on certain budgets. So it's like they put all their budget into the special effects, and they skipped on things like choreography, the things that you need. So the fight scene that Diana is involved in with this Steppenwolf guy, it's like she was pulling her punches. And I didn't understand why, because when Superman came up, her fighting style completely changed. I didn't understand that. I'm like, why is she fighting this way? Stupid shit. One scene, Steppenwolf is there, and Cyborg's trying to hack the mother box, and Steppenwolf grabs him at one point, pulls him away, and then they wrestle Steppenwolf off. Cyborg goes back to the box, and it's just little stupid things. Cyborg is now going back to the box with his back to Steppenwolf, so he can't see what's happening. Turn around, so if this guy's coming to you, you can do something. I don't know. It's just little things. Wonder Woman, they didn't really fuck up on, other than the fact that she couldn't fly and the choreography was just bad. And that was the thing with Wonder Woman. He kept doing this little, every time they showed her get involved in like an action scene, the music, the score changed to some fucking Middle Eastern or Mediterranean type music. That was so annoying to me. It was so annoying, and it shows why Zack Snyder's not a good filmmaker. Score and music is very fucking important to a movie. Very fucking important. It sets the mood. It's so fucking important. And this guy does not know how to use music in a film. The scores change when certain things are being done, and they change right back. And every time she came in, that fucking music would come on, and it was so annoying that after a while I was like, please don't show this bitch no more. So Wonder Woman, that's Wonder Woman. Then you get to The Flash. The Flash, I think, was... And I'm not even a huge... I care as much about The Flash as I do Wonder Woman. I don't really give a shit about him, but The Flash was treated so badly that I want to say he is the most... Even for me, someone who's not a huge Flash fan, he was probably the most disappointing thing in the movie. The Flash is unbelievably fucking powerful. He's unbelievably powerful. He is a... what is he? He's like a forensic specialist or something like that. He's like a cop. He's a different type of character. They followed... I think what Zack Snyder did was he watched the Justice League cartoon from the fucking 90s or the 2000s, whenever that cartoon came out. The Justice League, there was a Superman cartoon, and then they came out with a Justice League cartoon, Justice League Unlimited after that. I think he watched that because in that cartoon, the Flash is comic relief. And if you're not a comic book fan, then you don't know that the Flash is not that type of character. He's not comic relief. He's not a funny character. And that's more a Hal Jordan thing. So he decided to make Barry Allen into the comic relief. And I don't know if that's just because he doesn't know much about the character, or if he just didn't have any other... Because there was literally nobody else that could have been comic relief. I get maybe he didn't have anyone else who could be comic relief, but then that's him and the studio's fault, because they shouldn't have made Justice League this early. They should have showed other characters and then made Justice League. So you have Barry Allen in there as this comic relief character who makes jokes that are so bad that it is cringy. And that sucks when you're watching a movie and you're watching a movie by yourself and you're cringing. He would tell these jokes that would not land, and they were cringeworthy, and I was just sitting there dying slowly inside because I'm hating this kid. I started hating Barry Allen after a while. His stupid fucking smile, his stupid face, his stupid fucking jokes, and his inability to really do anything relevant. They made this guy into a fucking joke. They made him into a joke where he... At one point, they're fighting in this underground place in these tunnels, and the main thing that Barry did there was to knock Diana's sword back there. Here, Wonder Woman, here's your sword. That's all I'm good for. The new scene where they introduced him where he was applying for a job as a vet or a vet technician or a pet shop worker. I actually didn't hate that scene. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're expanding on him a little bit, and maybe I won't hate him as much in this newer extended version. But that was it. After that scene, which again had weird fucking music, after that scene, he went back to being this annoying, stupid clown who was irrelevant. I mean, they gave him some important things to do. I guess he had to run fast and touch stuff with electricity. God. So I guess, but I mean, in the combat scenes, this guy was irrelevant. It's the Flash. This guy could have took out those parademons all on his own, all by himself. There's so much that this guy could have done, and they didn't do it then. And then at one point, the Flash, he at the end, he has that stupid bullshit scene where again he's just running, where he's this dumbass kid, Ezra Miller is just throwing his arms like he's figure skating. It looks so stupid when he runs. But he has another dumbass running scene where he's just running and running like a dumbass, not accomplishing anything. And I guess he fails because Cyborg has taken too long because Diana and Arthur are fucking around with Steppenwolf and don't not stop him. So what the fuck am I trying to say? So he fails in what he's trying to do, and something bad happens, and so he has to then reverse time and run so that he goes back in time, or he can reverse time. Basically, what Superman did in Superman 2, I don't know, but he has to run so fast that he reverses time. If you don't know who the Flash is, if you're not a fan of this character, you're not going to know what the fuck is happening. And they don't really give a real explanation before he does it or after. So you don't really know what's going on. And even in this extended edition with all this new material, they still don't really explain it because they still treat Flash like garbage and don't really go into what he's capable of. They don't really go into him. You spend more fucking time learning about his fucking dad than learning about him as a character and his abilities. And that was very annoying to me. If you're not a fan of this character, you don't know what the fuck is happening. Luckily, I know who these characters are, and I know what they're capable of, so I figured out, all right, this guy's reversing time. But if not, it's like he's running and shit's not undoing itself. What's happening? What the fuck's going on? So they were disrespectful to the Flash. Then you go over to Aquaman. The Aquaman movie was entertaining. Sorry, I had to stop recording and do something, and now I'm re-recording again. So, hold on. Shite. So, with Aquaman, like I said, Aquaman's movie was the best movie out of all the DC movies, but that's not saying much because all the other DC movies were complete pieces of dog shit. So, that movie was entertaining and fun, but I don't like Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I don't. He's not Aquaman, and you want to change. I don't know. These people want to make these changes. For me, I don't appreciate the changes. Arthur Curry is this stoic, reserved. He's this king, and he acts like a king. Even in the comic books, he acts like a king. Stoic and reserved, has this code that he sticks to, and Momoa's version is just like this bohemian hippie, drunk, lush, lout loser who saves people for beer or whiskey. It was just bad. It was really bad. That was a huge disrespect to the character and to any of his real fans because you weren't portraying him properly. Not only that, but Momoa at least in this movie, he while I don't like Jason Momoa as Aquaman, in the Aquaman movie, his version of Aquaman is fine. I mean, I don't like his version of Aquaman, but what I mean is his version of Aquaman fit into that movie fine, and it flowed fine. In this movie, it just didn't. It seemed like Momoa was like a last minute add on or something. The lines that he had were like short and stupid. It's like, we're gonna cast Jason Momoa. We know he's not a great actor, so we're not gonna write a lot of lines for him. He had these stupid, short, small lines. Most of his lines were stupid and they were just bad. Um, and then there were this, I don't even. There's so much stuff. Action sequences. He's Aquaman, and you don't write scenes where again you're able to show his abilities. They didn't write. They were. It was. This was just laziness, and it shows that Snyder was lazy. He complained, "Well, the studio held me back, and I wasn't able to do that." Well, now's your fucking chance. And even when you got a second chance, you still didn't do it. You didn't really show Batman as Batman. You didn't really get to see Batman as Batman fitting in with these characters. The Flash was just fucked over completely. And then Aquaman, you don't write him in so that you see Aquaman as Aquaman. I think there was one, maybe two scenes where he stopped water from flowing. Which I don't know how he did that, because I don't think he learned that until the Aquaman movie, which took place after the events of Justice League. So who knows? But either way, you didn't really get to see Aquaman as Aquaman. Other than that fight in the ocean where he was fighting Steppenwolf, which was very fucking short, you don't get to see Aquaman when he's with the rest of the League being Aquaman. You don't write him in. I mean, you couldn't write in parts where they're near water. You don't really get to see Aquaman as Aquaman. He looked like he could have been fucking playing Lobo. That's what Jason Momoa looked like. He looked like he could have been playing Lobo in this. And that's what they could have given him: a leather jacket, because I think he was wearing leather pants, a leather vest or a leather jacket, and a chain with a hook on it, and he could have been Lobo. At one point, Jason Momoa was fucking flying through the air at the end's fight scene, which is one of the worst action sequences I've ever seen. The parademons carry him up into the air, and they're flying, but the parademon's not flapping its wings. So I'm like, how the fuck are they flying? Then he kills the parademon, and then he glides to the parademon. And it looks so bad. At one point, he crashes through a building and slides out of the building. Shit looked just like the Legolas scene where in Return of the King, where Legolas kills the Oliphant and he surfs down its trunk and lands right in front of Gimli, and the Oliphant drops dead, and there's this big crash behind Legolas. It looks so fucking cool. This shit looked like it was just a remake of that scene, but it didn't make sense, because why the fuck is Aquaman falling out of the fucking sky? He doesn't belong there. He belongs on the land or on water, but there's no fucking water around. All these characters were just last-minute throw-ins and last-minute add-ons, and you could tell that was the case when you watched Justice League. And it still felt like that when you watched this new movie. The only character who they actually did some work on was fucking Cyborg. Cyborg turned out to be the best character in the fucking movie, and Cyborg is probably my least favorite character in the Justice League. I think Cyborg was just like a politically correct answer to the fact that everyone in the Justice League is fucking white. Because Cyborg is part of the Teen Titans. Why the fuck is he in the league now? He has all this, even in the comic books, he started becoming part of the league, and he has this connection with the mother boxes now, so he's this big part of what the league does and all this shit. And so that was just like, oh, well, we don't have a lot of black people, so Cyborg's black, let's put him in there. And another thing, and this is just off topic, why does Cyborg have hair in this? I mean, in the earlier comic books, I believe he was bald, and it makes sense because he's a fucking robot. In this movie, he has hair, and it's perfectly cut. Oh, who's cutting your hair like that? This guy had a perfect fade. Who's giving him a fade? Does he go to a body shop and they cut his hair? I don't know. That was just off topic. But Cyborg, they actually fleshed out. This is the one thing they did right. They fleshed him out, made you care about Cyborg, made him an interesting character, attached him to the mother boxes perfectly. So Cyborg, they did a great job with Cyborg. But again, Cyborg is most people's least favorite character, and he's not that big of a part of the league because he was just added in as a PC character in what, the 2000s? Or 2010s? Who the fuck knows? So Cyborg's the only one they got right, but nobody gives a fuck about him. Nobody cares about Cyborg. Other than Superman, who had his own movie, Cyborg is the only one that gets real backstory. Not even fucking Batman got real backstory in Snyder's DC universe. But luckily for us, yay, Cyborg. That's like making a Justice League movie and focusing all of your attention on the Question. Nobody gives a fuck about the Question. We want to talk about these other characters. Oh, God. And then now we got the disrespect for the characters other than Cyborg out of the way. Now just stupid shit that was happening in the movie. So in the movie, they established that Darkseid came to Earth at one point, and Zeus, and looked like Zeus, Ares, and Artemis. That's what it looked like. Alongside the King of Atlantis, alongside the Amazonians, alongside, it looked like every continent sent an army to fight Darkseid. You had fucking Zulu warriors there, looked like Mongolian warriors, and European barbarians, Vikings, whatever the fuck you want to call them, all there. And then you had a lantern. That was fucking cool. I appreciated that. Thank you. You have this universal terror coming to Earth, and the police that police the universe, that patrol the universe, they're not involved? That don't make no sense. But luckily, you did have a lantern there. Lantern was there. He was quickly dispatched and was sent off. So I loved seeing a Green Lantern in the movie. That was fan service. But what was stupid to me is, where were the lanterns after that? When Zod came to Earth, there were no lanterns. When Doomsday was brought to life, there were no lanterns. When Steppenwolf comes, no fucking lanterns. So that was dumb. You can't establish that these lanterns exist and they police the universe, but there isn't one in this sector for all these major fucking events. Where are the lanterns? Don't introduce them if you're gonna write a stupid story that doesn't include them in the future. Where the fuck were the lanterns at that point? None of them showed up. Aliens from space went to Earth and they were wrecking shit. Where were the lanterns? Alien clone was just wrecking shit on Earth. No fucking lanterns. Another alien comes through a boom tube. No lanterns. That didn't make any sense. Another fan favorite is you had John show up. So they had this boring scene where Martha and Lois are talking, having this nice heartfelt conversation about loss and love. And then Martha gets up and she leaves and her eyes turn red. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And it's fucking John. It's the Martian Manhunter is there. And you're like, oh, when I saw that shit, I almost peed on myself. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool. And he looked cool. Martian Manhunter, they did a great job with his look. But again, where were you, John, when Zod came to Earth? You were the military general. You were right in the middle of it. You didn't want to do nothing to help. That Martian Manhunter is not even a big part of the movie, and they're still shitting on his character. It's like they're shitting on every character. They shit on the Green Lantern Corps, who practically not in the movie. They shit on Martian Manhunter because they show that he's the general who was working with Lois and Clark. So he didn't want to do nothing when Zod and his guys were there? Why? That wasn't explained. Lazy writing. He didn't want to do nothing when Doomsday showed up? Why not? Steppenwolf is here. Would you like to lend us a fucking hand, John? No? Why not? Who the fuck cares? We're not going to explain it. Stupid, lazy writing. Not only that, but John is pretending to be Martha. He doesn't think that Lois will see Martha sometime in the near future and say, thanks for coming over. And Martha will say, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never been to your apartment. That goddamn lazy writing. Why would John do that? Martha's still alive, and they're going to interact. What if Lois says, oh, Martha, I appreciate you coming to my house. What do you mean? I was never at your house. But you were there. We talked about losing Clark. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I wasn't there. He doesn't think that could happen. That wasn't, the writers didn't think about that. They couldn't have introduced him, John, in any other way. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I'm so angry. But I really get angry because these people that write these movies and make these movies, they make so much money, and it's like they're lazy. So I don't understand it. But those shit just started not making sense. I like that you were able to see Darkseid, but I thought they were going to be fighting him in the movie because they were talking about all these reshoots, but they didn't. So, yay. I wish Calabac was in it. They didn't show Calabac, so I don't know. But I liked being able to see Darkseid. I kind of liked the way he looked. Didn't look horrible. Another stupid thing that I didn't understand is Darkseid comes with all of his forces. They come to Earth. They have this huge fight, and Darkseid gets his ass handed to him. And then he just forgot about Earth. He just forgot that this is the one planet that rebuffed me. Oh, I forgot about Earth. Where's Steppenwolf? On what? Oh, Earth. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Earth. That one place that I failed at. Completely slipped my fucking mind. Oh, yeah, the mother boxes are there? Shit. And again, what did they need? This wasn't clear to me. Why did they need the mother boxes? I forget exactly why. They didn't have any other mother boxes at home that they could bring with them. If they bring mother boxes to all these other planets, that means they're producing them. They're making them. They couldn't make any more new mother boxes? Or maybe take some from one of the other planets? Do they have a limited supply of mother boxes? Because it sounds like they go from planet to planet doing this shit. So he couldn't just come back with new mother boxes at a later date when all these gods and stuff were gone. It's just stupid shit that just doesn't make any sense. The anti-life equation was on Earth. Did did DC's version of Thanos not know that it was on Earth? The Darkseid and all his mystical god shaman people not know that it was on Earth? The mother box told Steppenwolf. It didn't tell them. So did the mother boxes not know that it was on Earth until later? And if so, how did they find out it was on Earth? They were all dormant, lying in one was under the water, one was buried underground, and one was on the lesbian island in a cave. So how did Steppenwolf find out about this equation being there that they didn't know about? Not only that, but Steppenwolf, when he finds out about this, he talks to the mother box, he teleports himself to this location, slams down this magic axe that he has, and it shows this symbol, and he's like, oh, the anti-life equation is right here. But I keep saying Thanos. Darkseid did the same thing. He did the same act. He hit that part of the ground. It showed that symbol. Did he not know that this is the anti-life equation? Why not? That sequence didn't make any sense to me. That was stupid to me. The fact that they couldn't use, no one else could use boom tubes to get back to Earth. Why did that make sense? The fight with Darkseid Diana, Arthur, and Steppenwolf, where they couldn't stop him. I hated that, because how are these guys expecting to fight Thanos? God, fight Darkseid if they can't beat one of his lowly generals? I mean, this guy was beating the shit out of them, both of them. So it's bad writing. And then I got to talk about Joker. Jared Leto. I'm assuming Jared Leto had anal sex with Zack Snyder, and that's why he got the role. Because who would see Jared Leto as the Joker? Even if you say, oh, well, I could see Jared Leto as the Joker for whatever fucking stupid reason. When you watch this movie and they show that clip at the end where he's a Joker, that shit was one of the worst Joker performances I've ever seen in my fucking life. He looked bad as the Joker, and the laugh was bad. Everything about his version of the Joker was horrible. So if they go forward, which I'm assuming they're not, because now Batman is played by Robert Pattinson, so I guess they're not going to do that. Who knows? But please do not think about using Jared Leto as the Joker. The end sequences, I guess because it was the epilogue, I guess, just didn't make any sense. I don't know. That's basically it. That's really all I got to say. This extended version improved. It improved upon the shittier Justice League that we got years before. But that's not saying much, because that Justice League movie was such a piece of trash that, I mean, improving upon it doesn't really mean much. So, like I said, if you've never seen the Justice League movie before, do not watch this movie. Don't waste your time. You can watch anything else. Go watch The Little Mermaid. You can watch the DuckTales, Tailspin with Baloo and Kit Cloud Kicker. Isn't that a cool name? You can watch that. You can watch anything else. Shining Time Station. You can go visit there. We'll do anything else. Just don't watch this movie. If you have seen Justice League, you have to see this movie only because it will not redeem it, but it will make you feel better about the trash that you saw before. So I can't give Zack Snyder too much credit because of all the negative things that I mentioned, and the music. The music is just so fucking bad in this movie. Music, the choreography. This guy was doing slow motion shit for no reason. Slow motion for no reason. Batman's car made like he made like a U-turn, and that shit was in slow motion. I was like, why is this in slow motion? Everything is slow motion. The Cyborg's dad killed himself to mark the box. Why did he think to do that? I'm sorry. I'm just remembering certain things. Don't waste your time watching this if you have never seen it. If you have, check it out just because it will make your first viewing of the other garbage a little bit better. And that's that. Bye-bye.